If it is so good and if it is so right, then why are you afraid? Why are you not bringing it out in the open? So it is questionable. Why are you hiding it? Gays and lesbians cannot procreate. So the youth have to make very personal and informed decisions, because these choices and these behaviors, they affect relationships between the spouses, between families, communities, and then the faith-based affiliations. I welcome you to the platform for Boy Child by Grandma Rose. Today we are going to discuss the topic that is very, very sensitive, LGBTQIA+. And I'll discuss it from the Christian point of view because I'm a Christian. When I deal with LGBTQIA+, I'll do it in 3 subtopics. The first one will be, what does this acronym mean? What does it stand for? The second one will be our body physiology, as it is related to this choice of sexuality. And thirdly, we are going to understand it from the biblical approach, so that we know where we stand as Christians and what we can teach our children as Christians. So this is not something that is new. It was there way back in the Western society. It was there in ancient Greece. Actually, in the civilization of Greece, we hear that young men were like submissive to the old men sexually. But once a man grew a beard, then he ceased to be submissive. This was something that was acceptable in Greece, and this is something that was practiced openly. We also know that even in England, what we call Victorian England, it was still there. When we come to Judaism, which is the root of our faith, the Christianity, it was not allowed. And when Christianity spread to other nations like we know, people started to see it as a sin, and therefore it was outlawed in Christian faith. And those who were doing it, a country like Greece, they started to look at it differently. So it was thereafter frowned at, and it was not practiced openly. But we see that it still persisted in the background. And people started coming out because they felt that they were pressured to speak out. And therefore they started coming out in demonstrations. And they were now demanding their rights. In the beginning, homosexuality was viewed as a mental sickness. And therefore, if you're a boy or if you're a man and you're attracted to another man, then something was wrong. But later on, they started calling it a gay right. That means they went against what was termed probably by psychiatrists and psychologists and religious people as mental health. They called it, now it is our right. And this is where the gay movement started. Going back to the acronym LGBTQA+, what does this mean? L, this stands for a woman, lesbian. Lesbian is a woman who is physically, emotionally, romantically attracted to other women. Let me put my faith forward here. I am not advocating for any of these sexuality groups. Actually, you might as well frown at me, because as a grandmother and as a woman of my age, probably I'm not even supposed to talk about it. But the thing is, it is there, and it is unspoken, and it is in our community, and it is with our children, and it is there with the government, because the government is weighing out, are we going to allow it? Are we not going to allow it? Are we going to say you have committed a crime? Are you going to go to jail? What are we going to do to you? or do we give you the freedom to practice the sexuality that you want? Therefore, I, as a mother, and I, as a grandmother, and I, as an elder of the Church of the Presbyterian Church of East Africa, I am not advocating for gayism, but I am educating you because it is there actually under cover. And this started way back in the 1800s. That is when they started a lesbian rights organization in San Francisco. Sexually attracted to another woman and you are a woman. Gay. You are romantically or sexually attracted to another person of the same sex as you. For example, a man who is attracted to other men. B stands for bisexual. Bisexual means that this person who is bisexual is physically, emotionally, romantically attracted to people within more than one sex. If you're a man, you're attracted to women. At the same time, you're also attracted to men. You can also be a married woman who is lesbian because she's attracted to other women, but at the same time, you got a husband. T starts from transgender. This is a person whose gender identity or expression is different than their sex that was assigned at birth. So, if you are male, you behave and sometimes dress like a woman. Have you seen that in Kenya? I have seen girls dressing like boys or girls dressing like young men. Young men dressed like women. They wear high heels, they put on stockings, they put on dresses, they put on bras, they put on makeup, they put on wigs, and then they'll go to the places where they go. So their behavior also is like that one of the opposite sex. So we see some of them going through hormonal therapy. So if you're a man, female hormones are pumped into you, and therefore you start changing. When they change from male to female, the characteristics that the hormones give is that of a female. But we know that there are people who go to a really different way of becoming transgender. Some of them, they go surgically. First of all, they go through counseling. We have the social worker, we have the psychiatrist, we have your primary physician who will affirm that this is not a mental health, this is actually how you feel and it is normal. And therefore, if you want to go to the next step of gender reassignment, then you are coached gradually. The first step being that hormonal replacement therapy that is done. And therefore they start tweaking your body from that of a male to that of a female, or from that of a female to that of a man. And as you know biologically, men and women are not sexually created the same. Some of them will drastically go and have breasts built in, if it is men, and they'll have their male sexual organs removed. This is playing with your life and playing with what God has given you. And we have to be very careful, because we who believe in heterosexuality, man to woman and woman to man, you may get a daughter-in-law who is a man. That is the transgender, who is a queer, LGBTQ, queer. This is a person, they are not fully heterosexual, or what we call straight, and therefore they embrace what we call the fluidity of gender. They feel like, sometimes I feel like a male, sometimes I feel like a female, and so they are just, fluidity means just like fluid. They are flowing like water. They may flow this way, they may flow the other way. Then we have the intersex. This is a person who is born and their anatomy does not typically fit the definition of male or female. A child is born and then we go like, biologically, are they male? Are they female? We also have people biologically born and they have both organs. They are not translating into this, they are born with that. Then we have asexual. This is a person who lacks attraction or desire for other people. If I'm a lady, I have no interest in both male or female. And I saw there was a man that was somewhere. When you flash your phone like that, sometimes you read some information that are given there. And there was this man that was living almost in a hole. And he had caged himself in with ropes and with what? And he was hiding. And he creeps into that small kind of a house. And he's trying to close himself in because he says, I do not want even to come across a woman. So he is asexual. He is not attracted to any sexual orientation, and he is even afraid of getting associated with one. Finally, they put a plus. This is someone whose gender identity, it is not included within the LGBTQ. So, however they feel, I don't know how they feel, I don't know how they behave, but it's not included there. In the beginning, when I went to school and we were learning about LGBTQ, we were coming to LGBTQ. The I, the intersex, and the A and the plus were recently added. And therefore, this is not a topic that is going to end with just the plus. They are going to go with other things. I, being Grandma Rose, I interact with many groups of people. And some of the younger people, they are very free with me. I'll talk with university students and they get open to me. I'll talk with high school students the same way. And therefore, I have gathered that what I'm talking about is there. It is rampant in high schools. And it is also rampant in our colleges and universities. It's only that it is not properly pronounced because of how you are going to get judged by the public. And they are also afraid of getting justice because sometimes the public will make justice onto the people that are presumably gay. When we talk about high schools, the other day I talked to a mother who told me there is a famous high school and they perform very well. But she told me my daughter is afraid of going there because the girls there practice lesbianism. So, what I can say is that there is a danger for the young people. And the danger for the young people is because they are just going into adolescence. They have not encountered a healthy relationship of the opposite sex. And therefore, when these girls and when these boys go to high school and they do not know what love is, and then they are introduced into same people sex, they'll blindly go into it, and that they'll feel like it is the right thing, and they'll feel like those who are doing it to them really care for them and love them. And therefore the interpretation of the normal love, falling in love, will not be applicable. So there is a great danger there. And therefore there is a question of, if it is so good and if it is so right, then why are you afraid? Why are you not bringing it out in the open? So it is questionable. Why are you hiding it? These are choices that are going to affect you in the future. When you decide what sexuality you want to associate with, it will sometimes come with a lot of social, psychological, mental, and emotional kind of pain. You may end up losing your very close friends, and your family may not even want to associate with you. I have had parents who have said, you are not my son, you are not my daughter, I'm not going to call you another name because Andrew was the name of my son, and then you come to me as Andrea because you think that you have cheated into a girl and you are now a daughter. No, I'm not going to accept you. I'm trying to expose you to the wider world. And this wider world is not very far. This wider world is where we are going to be. I'm telling you, we are going to be there. Within a few years, we are going to be there. Let me say, like in the US, it's legal for a man to marry a man. And then this will be the woman, and this will be the man. And they go through that process of even legalizing their marriage. There are ministers of the gospel who are like that. You are even being married in church. That is acceptable. So it means that when you go through that, you have to even change your identity. This is a man who was called Bruce Jenner, but he went through that radical sex change and he became Caitlyn Jenner. This is the kind of change that in the future, if you are going that way, you are going to get into. What about his children? They were calling him dad. Now he's changed and they got two mothers. Is he a mother or is he a father? The children are then in a dilemma because all of a sudden, daddy has become mom. So the youth have to make very personal and informed decisions because these choices and these behaviors, they affect relationships between the spouses, between families, communities, and then the faith-based affiliations. Let me say that gays and lesbians cannot procreate. That God said, go into the world and multiply. Myself, as Grandma Rose, I went into the world and I multiplied my 4 kids. And now I have got 6 grandkids. That is the multiplication cycle that God was talking about. I know they pay surrogates. That means a girl will carry pregnancy for these 2 men, or a girl will carry pregnancy for these 2 ladies. That is what we call as surrogate motherhood or surrogacy. But still, that is not the right way of procreation. I am happy that I have finally covered this topic of LGBTQIA+. I was feeling like I would not be able to handle it because it is very, very sensitive. But we all need this information. Please, I urge you, continue to like, to follow, and to subscribe to Platform for Boy Child by Grandma Rose. And let me tell you, the information on this platform is not just for the boys and the men. It is for everybody. So even you as a father or a mother, point your son or your daughter or your friend to this platform. God bless you and God keep you.